Jobless claims well over a million for the 13th straight week in America, with more than 1.5 million people filing for benefits last week. And stunning scenes like this, a sobering reminder. Hundreds of people lined up outside Kentucky's state capitol building, all of them just hoping to speak in person about the confusing unemployment claims process.
I called every single day, every hour, on the hour. I've emailed. I've been in touch and tried to do everything I could.
This, as we learned, 30% of Americans missed their housing payments in June. Let's bring in Mitch Rochelle. He's a personal finance expert and a partner at PwC. Mitch, so this has been on my mind a lot, which is the fact that we keep seeing these numbers that, of course, people are going to miss payments if they can't figure out how to get their unemployment. They've maybe been furloughed. Other things have happened to them. I see this, that 106 million accounts are in deferment or forbearance since March 1st. And what's really troubling is that, there's 70% of people are worried about their ability to pay current bills and loans. And I know that there are some bright spots in the economy and economic news, but you still have all of these people in this position. What should we do?
So, and just order of magnitude, because the number today is misleading. There's still 20 million people, Dana, that are receiving unemployment benefits, and the federal benefit, the extra $600 a week, actually expires at the end of July. So there is a lot of anxiety out there. And on that 100 million accounts, 79% of those are student loans. So there's a lot of pain out there, and there's not a lot of answers in terms of what will be your source of income to make payments, later in the summer. And the thing to remember is forbearance is not forgiveness. So just because you're not making payments now doesn't mean that those amounts aren't going to come due in the future.
So then, from a policy perspective, should there be more forgiveness or payments, I guess, to the actual lender so that they don't hound people for these payments who are missing them through no fault of their own because of the coronavirus?
Yeah, and what they're doing now is the Fed's, trying to keep the financial system afloat by buying treasury bonds, by buying mortgage-backed securities. That just keeps credit flowing. But ultimately, when you follow the dollars through the financial system, it will be banks and other non-bank lenders that are going to feel the pain. So from a policy perspective, if the decision is made to let people, quote unquote, off the hook with amounts that they owe, ultimately, it's going to have to be the banks that pay the price, or the government pays the price on behalf of the banks.
It is super outrageous that there's many states that have not been able to get their unemployment systems up to speed to help people like the woman we just saw in Kentucky and the many more that were there the other day. We know what happened here in New Jersey as well. But you mentioned that $600 supplement, the extra payment that runs out at the end of the month, or at the end of July, I guess. Should that go away, though, so that we can encourage people to get back to work?
Yeah, one of the challenges there's sort of a reverse incentive, and I think some of the Republicans in the Senate were talking about this before the CARES Act was passed into law, which is there's an incentive to not go back to work for some. I think there was a recent study from University of Chicago that suggested 2/3 of the folks who are receiving that incremental $600 benefit would actually make less money if they went back to work. So, and Larry Kudlow talked about this the other day. I think we need to create some incentives to get people back to work, not necessarily give them incentives to stay unemployed.
And, of course, get them back to work safely. We want everyone to be healthy as well. Mitch Rochelle, so much to talk about. Thank you.